Welcome to the Fluffy Cast Studio. This is Deanna, and I'm so glad you popped in. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, thank you for coming back again and support me. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome, and I just want you guys to know that today we are making a little chocolate bunny, and it turns out quite cute, but because of my inadequate filming skills, we don't want no one to know that, I kind of screwed up. So I have some splaining to do. And so when we get started, I will begin and I will start explaining to you. So I'm going to start now. We're going to start with 4 bowls, plastic bowls from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to do 2 larger bowls and 2 smaller bowls. And these are in the party section. They're just plastic. Okay. And I'm going to take these 2 little plastic bowls and the big ones, and I'm going to get some E6000 glue, and I am going to glue the bowls together, the top part of each bowl together. I'm going to do that on the big ones, and I'm going to do that on the little ones. Then when I get them set together, I'm going to put some masking tape on the top, all the way from the top to the bottom, on a few sides, and hold it down so it's got a good hold while it dries. And I'm going to do the same with the bottom one as well. And you can see here that the bottom one is bigger, and they've got their little um, they're all glued together. Once they get glued and they're really secure and dried, then I glue the head onto the body. Now, you can leave it like that if you want, but I didn't like the looks of it. So, and I didn't have the right kind of bowls, I don't think. But, so is what I did is I took some foam noodle, and I cut it in half, and then I cut it in half again. And then I glued it around the head, and I'm showing you here that I have the pool noodle. And then I take it, only this is a half, but I did the quarter. And I glued it all the way around his head because there was kind of a gap there, space there, and I didn't like the way that looked. So I just glued this on. And it worked pretty good. I glued it with hot glue, and I glued it with E6000, and then I taped it down until it got good and dry. Now that it's done, I also took some ears out of cardboard, made them out of cardboard, and I cut them out and glued them on, but I had to, because the bottle is sloped, I had to put some foam behind in between the bowl and the ears. Then I cut some arms out of that foam, and I glued them on with hot glue and with E6000. When they got dry and everything got set up, I took it outside and spray painted it white. And now I am using chocolate bar brown from Apple Barrel, and I end up doing like 4 or 5 coats. If you have a chalk paint, or if you want to use a brown spray paint, that's fine. I didn't have any brown spray paint, and I didn't have any chalk paint, so I'm just using acrylic. And it did take me about 4 or 5 coats, but the last 2 were just spots, where there was little places where there was a little white showing. But it did take 3 really good coats, and then I just spotted, wherever it needed it. And I'm going to go all the way around the head, and I'm going to paint all the way around the ears, front and back. And I'm only going to show you one. I don't think you need to sit and watch the whole um, me painting four coats. But then I'm going to paint my ears and the foam that's behind the bowl, in between the bowl and the ears. Then I'll paint behind the ears or the back of the ears after I get through messing with it. And I skipped that one ear. I got to go back and do it. And then I am going, oh, right now I'm doing the arms. Sorry, I'm going to do the arms. And when I did this, I did get some brown on the white, but you don't necessarily see that. But I will go over that with a white paint after I get everything, all my three coats on. Then I'm going to go on the bottom part of the bowl, the bottom bowl. I'm going to go all the way around it. And like I say, I do three good coats. And then now I'm doing the back of the ear. Then once I get them three good coats done, I'm going to go over my white area and I'm going to paint it over with white because I want to get all the brown off, because when I paint it with the pink, the brown will show through. So I want to go over it with white, and I'm just going all the way around painting it white, just with white acrylic paint. I got a little bit on the brown part of the bunny, but I go over that later. Once I get the brown covered up good, then I paint it with Paradise Pink. And I do two coats. Now, the two coats, it probably could use three coats, but because I'm doing something with it, which you'll see, I am just going to do the two coats. It's just fine doing that. So I'm just going to do two coats of the Paradise Pink. Gonna make sure I get underneath the bunny's arms. Okay, now that I got that done, I forgot and left my whatchamacallit on my glue gun, and I screwed up right here, but I took some of these hydrangea flowers and I cut them apart, and on the thin sides I glued them to the between the head and the little dress for a little collar, so it kind of looks like maybe eyelid or something like that. It looks like a little collar, but it's just made with the little flower leaves. And I don't know how it did not record, because it recorded before and after. It just didn't record that part, and I specifically stopped it and I specifically set up the camera so I could paint that. Also, I painted on two eyes in white, and as what I did is I just took a little small sponge, round sponge brush, and dabbed them on there. Then I took a piece of that foam noodle and I cut a triangle, and then I had I had a little foam ball from Dollar Store, and I cut that in half for the two little like cheeky things underneath his nose. And I painted that brown, and I painted the nose with that Paradise Pink. Now I'm going around the eye with a black marker. And I also drew the kind of little mouth underneath the nose, but I don't know if made him add, I don't know if he was correctly painted. Let's put it that way. Now I am, okay, I also took a little leaf and cut it off, and then I glued it onto the little flower collar, and then I put a little pink flower. And I thought I had all this recorded and was so mad at myself when I did this and realized it wasn't there. And now I'm just taking and going over them eyes one more time. Only this time I'm not just using the sponge, I'm just using a small brush. And I'm just going around the white. There was a little bit of brown shining through, and I was just gonna do one more coat. And then I take a little tiny brush and I brush a line across the top of that little bunny's nose for a highlight. And there you can see the little balls. It's only one ball, but I cut it in half and glued it on. Now I'm going to cut some skewers for some whiskers. Now you can use something else. If I had some white wire, I probably would have used that, but I didn't. And I wanted it really thin, and I did have some pipe cleaner, but it was a little bit thicker than this, and I didn't want them that thick. So I'm just cutting them, and then I'm just painting them. And I'm not really, I am kind of going over so most of the brown or of that wood is not showing, but it is actually really, really light brown. So it doesn't look too bad if I let some brown show and it isn't bright white. Now I'm taking some foam, and this is just craft foam, and I'm just taking a sheet of that and cutting out my ears, the inside of my ears, and then I'm going to round off the top so that point wasn't so pointy, and then I will take some hot glue and I will go around the edge and glue them on to the middle of them ears. Apparently I did not show this part. Maybe I did. I don't know. I better wait and see. Now I'm making a faux hat. It's not a real hat and it's not going to be in the back, but we're not going to see the back because I'm not going to put it, it'll be on a shelf or something where you can't see it. But I'm taking that bowl that I used for the face, and I'm drew a circle on there, cut it out, and now I'm going to paint that with the Paradise Pink. And I did not show me doing this on the dress. I told you I was going to do something different, but I will show you here what I do. And I'm going to do both the front and back of this little circle. It's going to be the brim of her hat, but it's just a faux hat. And I do end up doing two coats, I think. Okay, while that's drying, I'm taking some jute and I'm going around the ears. Now, if you have something that's brown and you don't want that edge of that cardboard to show, you can use that. You can use beads, whatever. I had some jute, and my original idea was to paint it brown, but I actually kind of liked the way it looked with just the jute, so I just kept the jute. And I'm going to go around both ears. Very easy. Then I'll just clip the excess off. And then I'm going to glue that ear just a little bit better. Okay, then I'm going to glue my little whiskers on. You don't have to do this part if you don't want to, and if you can get the right size bowls, but my Dollar Tree didn't have a medium size bowl. They had a larger and a, or they had this size and a great big, but they didn't have a size in between the small and medium, so I just did what I did. And then I'm going to take some blue and I'm going to do some little eyeballs. And believe it or not, I'm using the glue stick for the round part, the cap of the glue stick. And then I just kind of go around and finish touching up the edges. Okay, now I'm taking that round sponge and I'm just dabbing it on my brim of my hat. I'm just tapping, just tapping. If you have a little chunk of sponge, it would be a whole lot better. But I didn't have a little chunk of sponge, and also, I mean, it was just kind of easy. Now I took styrofoam, cut it in half. It's about a 3-incher, and I am painting it that paradise pink, and then I'm going to sit and let it dry, and I'm going to do 2 coats. I do another coat. And then I'm going to let that dry. Then I'm going to glue the little brim onto the bunny. Apparently I didn't show this, or I did and I forgot about it. And then I'm going to put that little faux hat on. And now we're going to take some of them little white flowers that I cut up. And I'm putting some leaves down. And I'm going to take this little flower and put it around. And we're going to go all the way around that styrofoam ball, so it looks like it's a cap from the front or a hat. I don't know why I put this on, I just decided I wanted it to have a hat. And then I put little pink flowers in the middle, some teeny tiny pink, and they are almost the same color as that paradise pink. And I was so excited that I actually had cut one extra, and I thought, oh, it only has it only had 3 petals, but that's okay because there wasn't a very big space right there at the end. And then I just stick another little pink flower on it. My little whisker came off, so I'm gluing it back on. Okay, now the only thing I have left is I'm going to re-outline those lines because I kind of went over them, the black. So I'm going around the eyes with the black marker, and then I start to do the pupils of the eyes in black marker, but then I end up taking the bottom or the top of my little round sponge brush and doing black, dipping it in my black paint and then dabbing it on the eyes. And then I just put some little white, oh there I'm just putting some little white little spots on there. Oh, I do that, but first of all I ended up doing a second coat of the on the eyes because they needed a little more blue. Sorry about that. but the rest is the same. And here is the finished project. Thank you so very much for popping in. I really appreciate you. Please hit the subscribe button and please hit the like button. My channel is so small and I just cannot seem to get it in the algorithm. But maybe if I can get a few likes or a few comments, maybe then it will start to um, go a little bit better. I appreciate you guys that do watch and that you guys that come in time and time again. I'm thankful for you guys that subscribe. I totally appreciate you. I want you guys to remember that you are just one person in the world, but you may mean the world to one person. Never doubt your worth. You are worthy and you are loved. Thank you so very much for coming in. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you with our next video. Goodbye. Oh, by the way, you can check out videos